this day is an opening day. I'm going to introduce 5 speakers in a moment, and we'll see the welcome remarks, and then I'm going to ask a few questions to those speakers, and then we have a gift for you, which I'm not going to name now, so you will be amused and entertained in these hard times. So let's start, please, with our first distinguished guest today. Let me introduce to this stage Madam Ewa Leniart, the Voivode of the Podkarpackie Voivodeship. Please, round of applause for Madam Ewa.
Szanowny Panie Prezydencie, Panie Ambasadorze, Szanowni Państwo, zaproszeni goście.
Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen,
Jest mi
dear guests,
niezwykle miło, jestem
it is
zaszczycona,
my great
że
pleasure
mogę
and
dzisiaj
great honor
wraz z Państwem spotkać się
to
tutaj,
meet you here
aby
tonight
rozmawiać o pomocy, która jest
discuss
potrzebna walczącej
the
o
aid
suwerenność
which
i terytorium
Ukraine
własne
that is
Ukrainy.
fighting for its territory and for its sovereignty. I'm honored that I can share with you the information that made this region and Poland hosts and a state that responded with solidarity to the cry for help from Ukraine, from our neighbors. For this region and for Poland, as for Ukraine, that extraordinary time was started on February 24th. We had this strategy that assumed that this region, Podkarpackie region, and neighboring regions in Poland would be the recipient regions in case of war. And for this reason, in every region we had reception points installed in every single region. At the reception at border crossings, we knew that in case of refugees, we had to meet basic needs of those fleeing the war. They had to receive food, medical assistance, psychological help, and accommodation. Where refugees were arriving fast. It was in the early evening hours that on February 24th we were receiving first persons fleeing the war. These persons were indeed at a loss. They were lost and in deep need for any support. And over the next 12 or 24 hours, it turned out that the reception points had to be extended and we had to expand it because of this huge influx of refugees. As early as in March, early March, we had more than 80,000 people crossing borders, going through the border points here in this region, and they were met with the representatives of the state services, fire brigades, the police, and then the local government organizations from this region. I cooperated with the key organizations, NGOs at the early days of the crisis. That was Caritas Poland, and then the Red Cross that was supporting me in the provision of medical services. And it was quite soon that it turned out that we would need support from a big group of translators and interpreters. And here the Ukrainian Association with its branch in Przemysl helped us supplying very many volunteers supporting us. We had so many interpreters from this Ukrainian Union or Ukrainian Association, where the refugees who were arriving on the border, they had been through such a trauma that they couldn't decide whether they could leave the reception point and keep on traveling to find shelter, to find accommodation. They were terrified. What their accounts, what their narration, well, they also made impression on me. I remember stories. I remember some memories, some stories from the World War II, but that was beyond my imagination, that such situations like the bombs flying, like the people killed, and such killing witnessed by other people in the streets, that someone nowadays would be witnessing such events. So these people were receiving warm food, and I could listen to their stories, to the decisions they had to make. They were telling us about the decisions that they had to make. They were telling us about the uncertainty about their future, about tomorrow. And the only thing that we could tell them was that they were in a safe place, and irrespective of their decision, they could rely on us. And actually, me and other people who were committed to assisting them, well, we still have this impression that we had so many terrifying stories. There were so many other aid organizations, and over the following weeks, more than 1 million people from Ukraine crossed the border in our region, and until now, our border in this region was crossed by 4 times more people. That was a huge challenge for us, but it was also an exam. That was also a test for me, my people, and for the residents of this region. And we passed this exam with flying colors. We're all touched by the fate of the Ukrainians. There wasn't a single representative of services or local authorities or state authorities that wouldn't be aware of how serious these events were. The aid that they were receiving and that we were receiving was immense, but on the other hand, it was our task to secure their well-being, to keep them safe. And for that, I'm very grateful to Polish services. That mass influx of people translated into intensified traffic, road traffic, train traffic, and other phenomena that comes with mass fleeing of people. We didn't have such phenomena, such negative phenomena here in this region. I must say I'm very proud that my compatriots, people from this region, responded in such a great way. I want to thank all the NGOs and all the UN organizations and UNHCR and other NGOs. These are organizations that we're in touch with and we receive assistance from. I'm unable to name all the organizations. I'm unable to list them, but during the visit of the High Commissioner of the UN, during his visit in March, when he visited all the reception points in this region, where these words say, what you created on the border was excellent. I see no fault with that. I believe that that works so well, and I congratulate you on your effort. I considered these words from the Commissioner, who have seen so many crises and has witnessed so many difficulties where that these were words coming from his heart. Well, I believe that this need to help Ukraine, which keeps on fighting, must be continued. And this assistance, this help, this aid is and will be, so I trust, given in the tangible form and in any other form that Ukraine may need. And I'm speaking here to people, to those who fully understand the importance and the burden of the situation. Well, and the only decision that we can make is the decision which resources should be released and when to be delivered on time and to provide this assistance on time. So we engaged all possible means and measures and our capacity, starting from Caritas with the Ukrainian association in Poland. Then we have other organizations, NGOs, local units of the fire brigades that were holding shifts, and there were local groups of village women who were supplying sandwiches and snacks to these reception points. Then these were parishes which were agreeing on a schedule for delivering food and providing other services to the refugees. Then we were also trying to stretch out our aid to those awaiting to cross the border on the other side of the border. So as early as we could, we were offering certain assistance like blankets and water and food, well, meals. We were offering that to those who waited on the other side to cross the border. We were doing our best to respond to people's needs. Know that the time was difficult. February 24th, well, this is the winter time in Poland, as it is in Ukraine. Actually, it was quite comforting that it was getting warmer during the day, but on the border crossing in the mountains in Khrystyna, at night the temperature was dropping to minus 20 degrees. So we understood that time was the key factor for those in need of assistance. These people could not remain too long in locations without heating because they would risk freezing. In particular, children. We had 10 medical reception points and 6 regular reception points, and we provided 18.5 thousand services, medical services to refugees, including 4.5 thousand cases of served children. Well, these are numbers, of course, but when I say 1 million people, well, I understand and I know that 1 million, well, that translates into all these people who arrived here with very different expectations towards Poland. We did our best to meet their expectations. I trust that that was, in a way, a test that my region and my country passed. And I also trust that Ukraine will be successful at the end.
Thank you. The first thing I'm going to say, that I could feel the empathy that you possess. And this empathetic way of dealing with the war and with the crisis, I guess this is the most helpful for us, Ukrainians. And this empathy is something I thank you. And I have a question which I want to ask. Because this is a conference of lessons learned, I want to ask you, and you've talked about many of the challenges that you had. Which of the challenges that you had brought you the biggest lessons, please?
To jest trudne pytanie. Nie jest łatwo odpowiedzieć, które z wyzwań w ramach tego procesu było
It's not easy to answer which of the challenges during the crisis was one of the most difficult crises to overcome, challenges to overcome. Emotionally, I think that was the first meeting first moment of meeting refugees, the first, well, I would say, wave of human unhappiness, of human disaster that came as a shock, that misery which I show, the tears that I saw in people's eyes, people who were fleeing, uncertain of their future. And from the point of view of my personal emotions, that was the most difficult time, like the first 24 hours of the influx of refugees. But in terms of the logistics, as the receiving region, it was our duty to arrange the dislocation in the sense that we had to provide transportation for those arriving at this region. We are a border region. We are on the border. We are on the periphery of the country, so we don't have an extended train and road infrastructure. So we had to ensure transportation, and we have car transport, automotive transport, and rail transport. In order to secure that, we reorganized the rail transportation, and here I want to thank the Ministry of Transportation that assisted us with that. So we reorganized our railway stations so people could transfer swiftly and go to other cities in Poland, so then they can continue with the travel to their point of destination. Well, some refugees declared that they wanted to stay in Poland. Some they were on their way to their families in Europe, and there were also some who didn't have a place to go, and we had to refer them to other governors that would provide them with other locations. So transportation was a major challenge.
Pani Ewa Leniart, thank you so much. Thank you bardzo. And I wish you strength to sustain, because your strength is needed. Thank you. I want to tell to those of you that barely speak either Ukrainian or Polish or English, we have a booth over there of simultaneous translation, so you can slowly come there, take a headset, and then hear everything that is said here. I'm going to switch to Ukrainian for a second. Якщо хтось з вас не розуміє англійську або польську, будь ласка, візьміть headset, в якому
So if you don't understand English, Polish or Ukrainian, you can take advantage of headsets that you can use and listen to simultaneous interpretation. You don't want to miss a single word.
On this stage, the mayor of the city of Rzeszów, Mr. Konrad Fijołek. Pan Konrad, proszę.
Szanowni Państwo, chciałbym bardzo serdecznie powitać
I'd like
Was
to
w
welcome all
centrum
of you very
świata.
warmly in the center of the world, because for some time that is how we welcome our guests to Rzeszów and to our region. It is true that the reason for which we are welcoming and saying these words to people, this reason is actually painful, cruel and tragic, because it is simply connected with unprovoked aggression from Russia, started by the tyrant and the nation which is supporting him. But, well, so it is a tragic reason for the fact that this place started the center of the world. But let's hope that in some time it will turn into something positive, because this place in which we are meeting, it has become a symbol of things which are happening in Ukraine behind our eastern border. But also it is a symbol of things happening for the whole world. We we are in a symbolic place, as we said, in the center of the world. Till recently, we had NATO soldiers stationed here. On the one hand, thanks to them, this part of Europe is safe, but on the other hand, due to them, I am deeply convinced, safe and free will be not only the remaining part of Europe, but also Ukraine will be safe and free. So it is a place through which all kinds of assistance flow for Ukraine. So with this help, and thanks to bravery of Ukrainian nation, they will prevail. We are in the place and in the city which has become a symbol because it received from the President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, the title of the city rescuer. So it has become the symbol, as Madam Voivod has told us, it has become a symbol of how to help, how to provide support of those who fight for Ukraine, who fight for freedom, who fight for independence. And I am deeply convinced that this place, which has become the symbol, will be similar to Ukraine, because Ukraine will become the symbol of how to win. Ukraine will become the symbol how you can win your freedom, how freedom may win, how democracy may win, how they may prevail. And our support, our assistance that we have mentioned, which has been provided by our inhabitants on an unprecedented scale, on a global scale, I would say, will become one of the elements contributing to the fact that very soon we'll be able to say that in Ukraine, thanks to Ukraine's victory, it will be the place when a new world order will be shaped. Not the order of the world that Putin has in mind, but the order of the world when the world will realize that you may win your fight for independence, you may win in your fight for democracy, that democracy and overcoming tyrants will be something spreading throughout the world, and the heroic nation of Ukrainians will give start to this new process of final defeat of tyrants globally. And Ukraine forever will become the world symbol of this victory. I am deeply convinced that it will happen very soon, thanks to your fight and your bravery. Let me also say I am very proud that our society, Poland, has also become a symbol of assistance, of help. We are going to talk about it at this conference soon, a symbol of help on an unprecedented scale in the history of the world. The support that our inhabitants have provided, because in an unprecedented way they received thousands of people to their homes. It hasn't happened so far during any crisis so far, any refugee crisis in the history of the world. So it was here that people from the UN were surprised that they saw no camps for refugees, because all refugees were welcomed in regular people's houses. And there were so many assistance points, there were so many shelters, and there were plenty of volunteers. They were working there 24 hours a day. There were officials working there, regular people, with the support of our local and national business people. Financial support was organized. So all people together provided this help on an extraordinary scale. It was the scale which was actually evoked and caused by this cruel war. But I think that this scale of help shows to the world that such great opportunities and possibilities to mobilize various forces and various potentials are actually here, and it is something that not only our country can provide. So I am deeply convinced that this symbol, the symbol of this assistance, which we are going to discuss during this conference, will become experience shared by our countries of Europe. So we are going to continue our debate on how to support, on how to help. One more thing that I would like to mention. As we could observe here in Rzeszów, in the near future, the coming months, the coming years, right after the victory of Ukraine, we will have to, and we will begin a process of talks about how Europe and Ukraine are going to look like, how our relations should be shaped, how assistance should be provided for Ukraine to build new Ukraine. So, for all these reasons, connected with assistance, struggle, reconstruction, which will begin very soon. This location is the best place to start this debate for the coming years, for the coming months. So I'd like to say that I'm joining into all the words of welcome, especially to our friends from Ukraine, from local governments there, from NGOs there, who want to talk to us, who want to continue our dialogue, and they are convincing us here and in the whole world, using one phrase: we will win. Thanks to that, thanks to your deep belief that you will win, we will continue our determined support in your fight and reconstruction. Let me emphasize very clearly that this position and this determination accompanies not only this city, but everyone is equally determined in Poland. Also in the city of Przemyśl, another city rescuer, but there is also the Union of Polish Metropolis and all the cities gathered there. So there is a dialogue between our organizations, between our cities. The dialogue about reconstruction has actually begun, and it will be continued for the following days, weeks and months, also in the fully independent Ukraine in its territory. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Pan Konrad. The question that I have to you, the city of Rzeszów almost doubled in size since the war broke out. You were 2,100, now you are around 3,100. And I cannot explain how you managed that. And the question is this: what's the biggest lesson that you, as the city mayor, have learned on the way how to accommodate 100,000 people in your city, and whether this lesson could be valuable to other cities, please?
To jest bardzo dobre pytanie, ale
That's a very good
wspomniałem
question.
już o tym
I
również,
have also
że
mentioned
to jest
that
duma.
we are
Duma bycia prezydentem
proud.
miasta, w której społeczność,
I am proud to be the mayor of the city. We had like 200,000 inhabitants, and we actually received 100,000 new arrivals, refugees, and provided accommodation and shelter for them. Let me also say that this city, this region of the world, understood in a broader sense as Poland and Ukraine, is becoming the center of the world very soon as well, because it is us who are going to show how we can help each other. And that's the biggest lesson, I would say, how you can support each other, how you can assist each other, how neighboring countries, neighboring nations can become so much closer than in the past. I believe that since now, this city will become a very international place. It is an extremely international place even now, thanks to the presence of all the services, all the international organizations, the military people, thousands of people who also came here from Ukraine and found shelter in our city. It will remain a very international city, a very international part of Europe. I am also sure that starting from now, all of us on both sides of the border will start on the basis of this amazing process of mutual support, will begin new projects. The projects which will be used to rebuild Ukraine, which will show to Europe and to Ukraine something which is also unprecedented. Namely, that's the lesson, that you can have such a close cooperation. One nation can help the other nation with full empathy, without hidden agenda, that we can help each other, because we know that you also fight for our freedom. And we did not expect that. Our generation, as Madam Voivod has said, was born after the war. We thought that it would never happen again, but on this shocking experience, we would build something which would be a shocking, positively shocking to the whole world.
And also thank you to the citizens of the city of Rzeszów for support, strength, empathy, and desire to help, which, from what I've heard, is the desire that comes without any condition. just because we want to help. Thank you for that. I want to introduce the Ukrainian part right now of the opening remarks. So please welcome at this stage the Deputy Head of the Mission of the Embassy of Ukraine to Republic of Poland, Mr. Oleg Kuc. Please welcome. Oleg.
Шановна пані воєводо, шановні пані президенче,
Voivod,
ексцеленція,
Madam Mayor,
шановні
Excellency,
панство,
ladies and
Przyjaciele.
gentlemen, friends.
так можу собі дозволити,
I
бо
can
от
use
першого
this
дня
word
віджавим,
because
вийшли з амбасадором.
Together with the ambassador, since the first days, we were here and we could see how it was organized on your side. Poland did not wait for any decisions from the top of any organizations. Immediately you started to help us. And this help is multifaceted assistance. It is not only the government. It is not only It is not only various organizations, it is everyone, every Polish person, every Polish man, every Polish woman opens their homes and their hearts. We are very grateful for that. And I have said that Poland is the leader of the West in providing support and assistance for Ukraine. It is you who set the example, who you are the people who inspired the whole world, because now the whole world is witnessing the determination of Poland together with Ukraine, which are fighting together for the better tomorrow of our children, for our freedom. I guess that's the price that we are paying for freedom. That is why I believe that thanks to you, I am absolutely convinced that together we will win because we are stronger. Once again, thank you very much. And I'd like to thank you for all your efforts and support. Thank you.
Dear friends, I'm happy to be here. It's an honor for me to be among distinguished friends. You're working and acting at every level. Sometimes we know how bureaucratic can be help or assistance of any other government. As I said, I would be happy if all the governments were so fast and effective like Polish governments in help. But civil society, international civil society, NGOs, and especially volunteers were first also to come and to help without decisions, without waiting while other countries or other organizations were about to adopt and, provide assistance or decision. So thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. And please remember, we are here with you, and we are open for the cooperation. Embassy, because this great cooperation with NGOs and volunteers was really initiated with Ambassador Deshica, and we are trying and we are doing all our best to keep the high level, and we are grateful to our Polish friends. And I have an honor also to present you our team, but a bit later. Дорогі друзі, насправді те, що ви тут є,
I'd like to say that I am deeply honored to be here.
емоцій. Я навіть не знаю просто, як пояснити, як вам подякувати за те, що ви робите щодня.
Because I'd like to say that it is a very emotional time for me. It is very difficult to put to words all the things you do on a daily basis. We cooperate with you, with volunteers, with NGOs, with international organizations. You are the example that we are trying to match. You are an inspiration for us. Thank you once again. Let me tell you once again what we have been doing so far. So let me just say that I'd like to introduce my team, my colleagues who work with me on a daily basis, and they help me to provide help and assistance and pass on humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. They organize information policy that also has to actually bypass or prevent information policy of other countries, which sometimes is going to spoil our excellent relations. Iryna and the remaining members of the team, thank you so much. You arrived here in early days of this conflict, and I am so glad for your support, for your efforts, for your help. So I'd like to say that jointly, the civic society, NGOs, partners, and especially our friends, together are able to handle this difficult situation. It's been 270 days, and we are absolutely sure we will win. So we should also think about what will happen next after our victory. And afterwards, we'll have to rebuild and develop our country in such a way that it will become an example for the whole world, so that the whole world will be able to see that no tyranny can decide about the fate of other countries, especially if the whole world is united. If together we fight for the good cause, for what is good, for the global future, for the future of our children. It is just a proof that good and truth will always prevail. So I'd like to say thank you to all our volunteers, to all our guests, and to all our friends, because on everyday basis we observe a minute of silence to commemorate those who died for freedom. So let us have a round of applause for those fighting for Ukraine, for those continuing this fight for Ukraine. A round of applause. Thank you so much. I'd like to emphasize once again that there is so much work ahead of us. We are open to cooperation. My colleagues will tell you more about what they do. Everyone will see which project is of interest to you, where you can join in, where you can contribute. Because we want to function as a single force. We want to function arm in arm, hand in hand. Glory to Poland, glory to Ukraine.
Thank you so much, our friends. We are with you, and thank you for standing firm with the people of Ukraine and being staunch defenders of Ukraine, because we do appreciate this, and together we will win. Thank you.
Thank you, Oleg. Thank you so much for that. And also, the stand innovation doesn't come so often, so thank you so much for the energy. I'm going to introduce the other part of the team right now. As Mr. Oleg Kut said, the whole team has worked hard in order to help as many people as we could. And I want you to learn something from what we've done in the past 9 months. Please welcome on this stage the coordinator of the Crisis Coordination Center at the Embassy of Ukraine to Poland, Khrystyna Faichak. Please welcome Khrystyna Faichak with your applause.
Yes, it works. Добрий вечір, good evening і доброго вечора, друзі і колеги. I'd like to tell you a short story, really short. On the morning of February 24th, when Ukraine was bombarded by the Russian missiles, one wonderful Ukrainian woman, Oksana Chiporenko, by coincidence, was just about to return from Warsaw to Kyiv. But that day, she didn't get on the flight and stay in Poland. She is not here, but she worked for the benefit of Ukraine for many years. And here she couldn't just stay aside or sit idly by. And the same day, she gathered like-minded people and go to the embassy and start to communicate with them about assistance, about help, about coordination. Actually, that was how our Crisis Coordination Center was born. We work with the embassy in two directions. The first one is media and communication work, and the second one is about assistance with humanitarian aid, coordination, and logistics. About the first direction, my colleague will tell a bit later, and I will try to briefly dwell on the second one, which was created or formed into Ukraine's Assistance Coordination Center. In the first months of the war, approximately 30% of all humanitarian aid which passed through Poland also passed through us, through our team. About team, here is our management team. Unfortunately, the slide didn't fill all the others, but all of us work together every day so that those who want to get humanitarian aid to Ukraine can do so comfortably, and those who need it receive it. Because only in this way, with joint efforts and everyone in their place, we can win this war and we can make victory possible. In our work, we cooperate with many donors from all over the world. It can be private donors, it can be state structures, and we are really very, very grateful and appreciate them for their help. We accept applications for the organization of delivery or other help with logistics, or it can be issues related to preparation of documents for transportation, or to crossing the border, or etc. Among other things, we also have organized a call center where you can turn to 24/7 and you will get an answer and help in solving a problematic issue. Also, we constantly cooperate with the government of Ukraine, directly with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, and help them in many different issues and directions. Briefly on this one slide, we would like to present you the amount of aid that delivery of which our center has contributed directly since the beginning of our work. You know, after the last cynical attacks on the energy infrastructure of Ukraine, the focus of our attention has significantly sharpened on the issues of finding and delivering the necessary energy equipment, of course. It was really a great, I don't know how to say, challenge for us to react so fast, as fast as possible. And our reaction was really in the first few hours after the attack. But of course, other needs remain relevant, especially due to the onset of winter, which we know it will be difficult for all of us. So we continue to work. We continue to work for the benefit of Ukraine and the entire civilized world for which we are now fighting. Thank you all for your attention. Thanks to the organizers for opportunity to speak here. Thanks to Rzeszów. Slava Polskie и Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава. Thank you so much, Khrystyna. I'm going to introduce your colleague now. Thank you for this presentation. So now we know a little bit more of the data on how the Crisis Center, Coordination Center works. Of course, any effort is impossible without media help and media infrastructure. Let's see how the media center at the Embassy of Ukraine has been working in the last 9 months. Please welcome to the stage Iryna Tverdovska, who is heading this media center. Your applause, please.
Дякую. Дякую, Андрій. Звісно, перше слово, яке я хотіла сьогодні сказати перед вами, це слово вдячність. Ми дійсно дуже вдячні всім, хто підтримує і допомагає українцям у цій страшній вирішальній війні.
In these difficult moments of war that to say for our life. I've worked with in the area of communication for the government, and I'm happy that I can present to you our work and our team. You can see here on this slide only a part of our team. When I first arrived at Warsaw at the outbreak of the war, I was shocked by two things: this wholehearted preparedness of Poles to help Ukraine, and then the preparedness of the Ukraine embassy to work 24/7. Ukrainian women who would be coming to embassy with their projects, with their queries, but also with asking, how can I help you? So this is how we set up our media center. We are working towards strategic communication. We have this Ukrainian communication in war conditions. We deliver projects under the patronage of the Embassy of Ukraine, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and with the Supreme Council of Ukraine. Our first step at the large scale after February 24 was to have this film, I will be back, I will return. Our people, well, the protagonist of our clip that spoke about Ukrainians who found shelter in Poland fleeing war, well, all of them, they knew that Ukraine was waiting for them, was there for them. We made this clip together with Ukrainian director Stas Kopranov with the support of the First Lady of Ukraine. We need weapons. So we have this poem by a Polish poet Zbigniew Jashiński, translated by a Ukrainian poet here, and everybody was surprised by the words that Warsaw addressed at the world nearly 80 years ago. These words sound very true and up to date for the Ukrainians now. Now it seems that this whole community is also needed here. We also assist many foundations for children with cancer, etc. We work together with the TV and Polish channel and with the Polish radio. Today we've launched the first program on the Polish TV in connection with the Ukrainian children, their joint Polish orphanages, and I trust that they will coin lifelong championships. Every day we've been working in the field of the mass media. We have more than 1,500 of monitored and analyzed media information. We translate our information into 3 languages, and we assist our embassy as much as we can to keep Ukraine at the center of attention. We're happy and we're proud. So this is the story of friendship. And we have here this story given by a Ukrainian woman who was fleeing the war together with her children, and she found shelter in Poland. She's been through so much, but we have this clip, and all these clips, they were screened the day before the Polish Day of Independence in November, and all the materials that were published in the Polish and Ukrainian mass media and channels. There was also a campaign, TV campaign. published with the assistance of the Polish outdoor and digital distribution. And as much as 3.5 million people watched that clip on the Polish TV. Note that we have this clip in two language versions, in Polish and in Ukrainian, and in a moment you will see this English version with the voice recording, dubbing made by a Ukrainian actress, Iryna Tverdovska. We are on Instagram. We would like to expand to other areas, to other channels, so we are on the information front. We want to share our experience. We want to strengthen the information. We're a small group of Ukrainian experts. We also have Poles who are Poles, who are carriers of the Polish culture, and we are all integrated. We are fighting for the better relationship, for the history which is being made today. Thank you.
Now I know what it's like to lose everything in a moment. To leave home. To stand in the middle of a train station, not knowing where to go. You were a stranger who in a single moment became my savior, a true friend. My children miss their father, but with you, he knows we're safe, so he can calmly defend his country. When I help our warriors, you are with me. When I raise my voice to be heard, you raise my flag. I do all I can to express the depth of my gratitude to you. And when I realize that I will never see him again, you cry with me. When my strength fails me, you help me rise. I am Ukraine, and you are Poland, and our hearts beat together. Thank you, Poland.
Most definitely, thank you, Poland. Dziękuję bardzo. Thank you so much for what you're doing. The citizens of Rzeszów, citizens of Przemysl, of Warsaw, of every city that is helping us Ukrainians to go through this. Thank you so much for that, for efforts. And as you, Madam Ewa, told, it's the toll that you pay personally with loss of night sleep. And this is the challenge that you have. And I wish you strength, because with your strengths, you give us strengths. Thank you for that. I want to tell you what we're going to see next. And while we have a pause in the broadcast, I'm going to share what we're going to do tomorrow in here. So we start at 8 with the registration. At 9, we're going to have an opening remarks from Andrii Deshitsa. We're welcoming you tomorrow, sir. And then we're going to have a few panel discussions, which are of high level. We start with the current situation in Ukraine and the human cost of war. Later on, with the current humanitarian relief and projects. And then we go with the destruction of the agricultural sector in Ukraine and the lessons learned of that and the global effect on that. Through the day, you're gonna have a chance to see a main stage over here, conference room A, conference room B and C on the second floor, and the auditorium just to the left, to the right from you, behind this scene. On the second floor and on the third, you can see the exhibition level. which contains various products out of Poland and out of Ukraine, as well as the art exhibition, which unfortunately we cannot buy this time. It's not for sale at the moment. Also, we are preparing for you a gift, which you're gonna see in a moment. It's going to be a musical performance. And when we're gonna be ready, I'm gonna tell you that. So I'm gonna continue with what we're gonna have tomorrow as well. Except of the panels, we'll see the workshop room. And we're gonna have a workshop on logistics of transporting aid and goods to Ukraine. This is one of the key topics that is discussed here and behind the closed doors. Also, what I want to say, this is a place of collaboration. 37 mayors are here. Also, while I was watching the movie in the auditorium just an hour ago about the war in Ukraine, which name is the Freedom on Fire, I met a few beautiful ladies from Washington, D.C. They're representing one of many American foundations that are helping Ukraine. So mayors and others, please collaborate. There's plenty of Polish, American, European, and other foundations that are ready to help. And this is a place of collaboration to us. On the day 3, tomorrow we have an evening gala, which starts at 17:30, if I'm not mistaken, and is followed by a concert of Kalush Orchestra, which starts at 7 p.m. So those of you who want to experience a little bit of joy in the dark times, please remain until 7 p.m. And I guess we're gonna be ready in almost a moment. Yeah, so I'm gonna introduce you to the musical genius who's gonna arrive to this stage in a moment. So for you to explore how we feel now, I'd like to introduce to the stage, with your applause of course, Julia Romanyuk, who's gonna perform something for you in a moment. Please welcome her with the applause. Please, round of applause for Julia Romanyuk. I know the stage is being set up now, but we're gonna be on time with that. Pani Julia, please welcome to the stage. Can't see you really now, and the broadcast is not on yet. Okay. Also, G2 Arena, thank you so much for hosting us. We know how hard is that to arrange a concert, an event like this in a short time. And again, thank you to our partners and patrons, all of the ministers from Poland and all of the ministries from Ukraine, as well as the Council of Europe. Okay, I'm done with my time now. And Julia is not here yet, so I'm just gonna buy time. Oh, she's here, perfect, okay, perfect. Beautiful, you're here. Wait a second. So now she's here. Let's do it again. Julia Romanyuk. Welcome her with applause, please.
Dzień dobry wszystkim.
Urodziła jest ta panna, brwi burzanu, lasów rzęsy. Czarne oczy morskich głębin, rzek splecionych, warkocz gęsty. Zmysły chłopców rozpalała, co mieszkali po sąsiedzku. Lecz żadnego z nich nie chciała, to się skradli po zdradzie. Po radziecku. A na imię tej dziewczynie Ukraina. 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 Bo ci chłopcy z okolicy straszni byli, zazdrośnicy. Siłą brali, nie pytali, serce jej nas czym porwali. Oszalało piękne dziewczę, opęd w oczach, w dłoniach noże. Taniec śmierci zatańczyła, zmiłuj się już nad nią, Boże, nad nią, Boże. A na imię tej dziewczynie Ukraina, a na imię tej dziewczynie Ukraina, a na imię tej dziewczynie Ukraina, a na imię tej dziewczynie Ukraina. Miała zacząć nowe życie, już się w podróż wybierała. Ale znowu ją dopadli ci, z którymi być nie chciała. Ona być nie chciała. Chwała rani niebo, ale ona się nie boi swej wolności, już ją da i modlitwą serce zbroi, serce zbroi. A na imię tej dziewczynie Ukraina, a na imię tej dziewczynie Ukraina, a na imię tej dziewczynie Ukraina, a na imię tej dziewczynie Ukraina. Dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you, Julia. You're singing more? Ah, okay. So I'm not needed here anymore.
Dziękuję bardzo. Ja chciałam tylko powiedzieć, że właśnie piosenka, która wybrzmiała przed chwilą, nie jest zwykłą piosenką, tylko jest częścią projektu charytatywnego, który jest powiązany z inicjatywą United 24 prezydenta Ukrainy i razem z polskimi muzykami znanymi chcieliśmy po prostu przede wszystkim wesprzeć Ukrainę, mój kraj, z którego pochodzę, i przekazać nasze emocje, które nam towarzyszą i towarzyszyły przez ten cały czas, i pokazać też, że jako artyści też możemy pomóc. Możemy tworzyć i możemy wspierać Ukrainę. Dziękuję. Teraz kolejną piosenką będzie ukraińska ludowa piosenka Ty do mnie nie przychodź. Ona jest o dziewczynie, która nie chce, żeby do niej przychodził jeden chłopak, tylko teraz to właśnie można zinterpretować całkiem inaczej. Tak jak przed chwilą z dziewczyną Ukrainą, że ci chłopcy z okolicy byli zazdrośnicy, tak właśnie jest z dziewczyną z kolejnej piosenki.
Ти до мене не ходи, куций коротенький, бо до мене ходить хлопець високий, тоненький, понад сади виноград, а у саду грушка. Вийди, 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 ти до мене, моя щебетушка. Вийди, 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 ти до мене, моя щебетушка. за тебе не піду, хоч би був зі злота. Чи ти мила, така гарна, чи мені здається, через тебе моя мила, сон мій не береться. Через тебе моя мила, сон мій не береться. Ти до мене не ходи, куций коротенький, бо до мене ходить хлопець високий, тоненький, понад сад виноград, а у саду грушка. Вийди, 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 вийди ти до мене, моя щебетушка. Вийди, 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 вийди ти до мене, моя щебетушка. Dziękuję. Dalej jest taki dość prywatny dla mnie utwór, który napisałam też całkiem niedawno. Jest to autorska piosenka, która opowiada o tym, że co by się nie wydarzyło w naszym życiu, zawsze trzeba zachować w sobie takie dziecko, które potrafi marzyć, które wierzy w lepszą przyszłość, które zawsze ma tą nadzieję na lepszy dzień. Zobaczę w oknie poranne niebo i zachwycenie wiatru polecę tam. Mam przecież wszystko w swym dużym sercu, moce, żeby iść złamać te przeszkody, sobie wierzyć i robić nowe próby. Otworzę serce na przekór światu. On przecież bezgraniczny, jak miłość jest. Otworzę serce całemu światu i powiem, że chcę. A ja chcę marzyć, marzyć, po prostu marzyć. Ja chcę śnić. A ja chcę marzyć, marzyć, po prostu marzyć. Ja chcę być. Znikając w obłokach, otwiera się droga do prawdziwych doznań, a tam beztroskie uśmiechy w prawdziwym pośpiechu. Szlak wiodący mnie do nieznanych granic, ufam im i odnajdę za nic. Otworzę serce całemu światu. On przecież bezgraniczny, jak miłość jest. Otworzę serce całemu światu i powiem, że chcę. A ja chcę marzyć, ja chcę marzyć, po prostu marzyć. Ja chcę śnić, a ja chcę marzyć, marzyć, po prostu marzyć. Ja chcę po prostu marzyć, po prostu być. Dziękuję. Poleciłbym na kraj świta, jak witer, що в поле літа, де в америцький край. Лем жаль миття, моя хижо, лем жаль миття, моя хижо, солом'яна жаль. Лем жаль миття, моя хижо, лем жаль миття, моя хижо, солом'яна жаль. Коль в нас превелика біда, і не можна заробить хліба, гей, мушу їхать вдаль. Лем жаль ми вас, мої верхи, лем жаль ми вас, мої верхи, зелені жаль. Лем жаль ми вас, мої верхи, лем жаль ми вас, мої верхи, зелені жаль. Лем жаль ми вас, сойки сиві, що вас плекав без три зими. Ой, ой, жаль ми вас, жаль. Хоч в нас біда, не поїду, хоч в нас біда, не поїду в америцький край. Хоч в нас біда, не поїду, хоч в нас біда, не поїду в америцький край. Ой, жаль миття моя страно, де живуть мамичка з няню мой. Ой, жаль миття, жаль, бо і на цей бим поїхав, бо і на цей бим поїхав в америцький край. Бо і на цей бим поїхав, бо і на цей бим поїхав в америцький край. Dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you, Julia. Let's give a round of applause for Julia Romanyuk, please. Thank you so much.